Hello, Internet, and welcome to Say Report Jr. This is one of your hosts, Zach Sarowick.
Hey, remember when I told you
So we have a beat. I thought I
to
gave it a
wait for
beat.
the beat? You did. Oh, you gotta wait 2 beats, I think. I don't know. We'll
Ah,
hear how it sounds
oh,
in
yeah, I
post.
guess.
But
Okay,
it was
so
good. It
again,
was
in
fun.
case I was
Whatever.
drowned out by the music, I'm Zach Sarowick.
You weren't really. It was just actually, it was probably very nice. It probably sounded very nice.
I guess we'll find out. What's your name?
My name is Dale Decker. Hello, everybody, and welcome to
uh,
this very functional podcast that we have here.
we were asked recently just how much planning and editing goes into this, and really, it's just like so far we haven't had to cut anything, so none.
Yeah, no,
But
no. It's pretty much we're just live.
this is now that's now like verifiable truth. This is how you know we don't edit this.
Exactly.
Before we get into anything, though, I believe we have a
Uh,
quick plug for Devin. I think you have
yes.
the info for that.
Yes. So, quick shameless plug, whatever. Devin Decker, my brother, the one of the co-hosts of our sister podcast, our older sister podcast.
Are we sticking with older sister
I
podcast? Because
don't
I'm
know.
fine with that. Yes. Okay. Anyway,
I heard Devin refer to our podcast as the sister podcast, so it's only fitting to call
Yep.
theirs the older sister podcast.
so it's his fault.
Yep,
Anyway,
it is his fault. It's all on him. So Devin is he streams on Twitch. I know he talks about it on the Say Report, and so you should know that by now. But he streams on Twitch. He does a lot of Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past randomized playthroughs and tournaments. He does other stuff too. Really into Mega Man and all that good stuff. But he is trying to get officiated on Twitch, which apparently all you need to do to become officiated on Twitch is to get 50 followers. And he only needs 5 left. At this moment in time of recording, I only know of 5 more that he needs. That was the last time I checked. So, he needs those 5 more followers by May 4th. I just hit my microphone. I'm sorry. By May 4th. So if anybody is listening, please go check out, his Twitch page and give him a follow so he can become officiated. And maybe he'll give a shout out. Maybe I'll make a promise that he needs to uphold. He'll give you a shout out in the Say Report. Whoa. And we will too. Why not? I'm sorry, Zach. I just promised that. I hope you're okay with that.
That's fine. Oh, kidding me? I'm waiting for the day that people pay us to talk about them.
Right? Oh yeah.
We should have had just Devin send us like $5 each.
Yeah, right.
And that's
Would've
on
been
his
nice.
that's his Fox. Yeah, that's his Fox Zero.
Yes,
account,
Fox
right?
Zero.
Okay.
So what you want to search is FOXZERRO. All right. So Fox Zero is really how. That's how I pronounce it and how I think he wants it pronounced. But it's one word, it's no spaces or anything. His little picture icon on Twitch is a fox with sunglasses, and it has I'm pretty sure it has a nuclear system behind it. Like, watch out, we're nuclear. I have to sneeze really bad. This might be our first edit. Oh wait, no, it passed. It passed.
I like when Devin streams Link to the Past as well, because he always does like the randomizers and the crazy stuff, which means he gets to change his sprite, and it is
Yep.
always a fox.
Yep.
He leans into that the way only a showman like he can.
Oh
Like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
it's like-
He designed that too.
Did he really?
The one I'm pretty sure the one that he uses now is the one that he created. I could be wrong. There is already a pre-existing fox sprite within the randomized world of Zelda, but I also know that he created one for himself that he uses from time to time. So yeah, but the sprites of that game are the best part. And as you know, I finished Link to the Past for the first time 2 months ago, I believe. No, last month. Last month? When did we start this? March, right? Yes. So
I don't remember.
I don't remember. It's all
always,
a blur.
It's always been here. We can't even remember week to week who opened
Exactly,
last time
right?
because
I
we
know.
blend our episodes
I
together.
know, right? But yeah, so when I beat it, he was like, now you can get into randomize. And I do want to, but I don't know the game as well. But you learn. So
That's the thing that always like I think that's the thing that'll always blow my mind about that is they're like, oh yeah, everybody that plays these things knows where the chests even are. Like I couldn't
oh
tell you
yeah,
where to even go. I went to go. We were going to do like an Easter stream, and then the plague took over your house.
yeah, yeah.
And so Devin had sent me the initial like just like a trial run, and I realized as soon as I started playing, the game turned on, and I went, I don't know where to go. So I just started playing it like I was playing the game. Like I went to the castle and I went through
Yeah.
the dungeon, like I went
Yep.
through the prison and all this other stuff. I'm like, I know that there's a faster way to do this, but I don't know how people know where everything is. Then again, I could probably tell you way too much about like PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds and Fortnite now because I play them every day
Oh
because
yeah.
I'm now an addict. Uh, Spoiler alert. That's all I've played for
The,
the last
you
week. Like
know,
I haven't found a game to play since I ended Far Cry 5, so I've just been like bouncing between battle royale games like that.
yeah.
But yeah,
Hey,
it just like it
the
blows my
first
mind
step,
that people memorize that stuff.
the first
So
step of knowing you have an addiction is admitting you have the addiction or something like that. I don't know.
it's admitting you have a problem, and that
Yes.
problem is that 2018 needs more games that don't cost a bunch of money.
Right. I side note before we move on, I was so ready for that Easter thing, and then I was so upset when we all got sick. I was just like, I was so ready because I had just played the game, and I was like, I think I got this. I think I can do this.
Oh,
And
it would have been me at the back end of that too. Just like 8 hours later, I found three things. Like, where is everything?
I have to get how many eggs? You had to get like 7 dozen eggs. The person
Yeah,
who got 6 dozen. I think it was 6 dozen.
6 dozen. So whoever got 72 pieces fastest. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't even. Are there
Yep.
72 chests in that game? How are there
Oh
72
yeah.
chests in that game?
There's yeah. It's crazy. It's ridiculous.
Oh.
But yeah. So
So yeah,
there's our shameless plug. Go do it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Search Devin. He's great. He's always entertaining to watch. Always good.
Yes.
So moving on to what constitutes our ish
Our
regular format around
yeah.
here. Dale, what you been watching, playing, doing last week
So
or so?
so last week I've been wanting to talk about this for a really long time, and I just keep forgetting to. So I'm gonna open with this.
Perfect.
The most recent game that I've been playing, other than Horizon Zero Dawn, has been Kirby all ally. Oh, why can't I think of the name now?
Kirby,
Kirby
Kirby
Star
Star
Allies on the Switch.
yeah. Yeah, how is
And
that? That one I have not picked up.
oh my god, I love it. I've never really played a Kirby game. Devin and I played a Kirby game once together, co-op, and I can't remember the name of it, and that's gonna upset him and make him sad. But I still love you, Devin. You're my best friend. Love you. Bye bye. But anyways, I can't remember the name of it. But we did play a Kirby game. But I don't have a lot of experience with Kirby games at all, except for like Smash. Um, and even
It's
in Smash.
the best Kirby because all you're doing is
Yeah.
like I'm going to play everyone
Yeah,
by playing
exactly.
Kirby.
Exactly. And even that I'm not good at. But anyways, Kirby Star Allies, Devin and I played the demo together, and it was insanely fun. Like, even playing as one of the allies was super cool because you still are able to do a lot of stuff. So I was like, man, I really want this game. I really need to play. I want another game for my Switch. This seems perfect. But I need it pre-owned. I do not want to pay $60 for this Kirby game because
Yeah.
I'm
I
not
mean,
sure about it.
yeah, I
So
mean, from the looks of it, it seems like lengthwise, at least, like it seems like. I mean, Nintendo's always pretty good about putting value into their games,
yeah,
so
yeah,
that's always worth it. But $60 is $60.
exactly.
So
So long story short, I was able to find it pre-owned. Devin actually went out and picked it up for me. He had to drive an hour to get it, but I got it. And I started playing it that like the day after and could not put it down. Like every second I was playing it. And it's just so insanely fun. All the allies are amazing. I have like my core favorites, but every single one is fun to have on the team and fun to combine with. Because the big thing is that as Kirby, you can still suck enemies and become the enemy pretty much. And then but now you can combine abilities with your friends, and it's amazing. Like, I can have a fire yo-yo, and it, like,
Oh, yo-yos are always fire. They've been amazing since the 90s.
that, wow. Wow. That was, that, wow.
Oh God. Oh man.
You just broke
I'm
me.
mad at myself.
I can't believe that just happened. Oh, that's great. You can have a yo-yo that's on fire. Hey, that's still the slang. That's still how people use that term now.
Don't worry. One of these days I'll use lit and then it won't be,
Oh
popular
God.
anymore.
Oh God. Can you do that though? Like, for real? Cause I'm so done with lit. I'm so done with lit.
I'll teach my dad lit and he'll use it in
Oh,
class
we
and
did
it'll
use it in
spread
class,
like
and it would be
wildfire out of his
that'd be
classroom.
perfect. It would be perfect. It would be great. Oh my God.
That's a lie. I love you, Dad. Sorry.
No, I mean, I don't really know your father, but I'm sure his students would be like, "Oh no."
I'm actually surprised he's never called me and been like, my students are trying to teach me this word lit, and I don't know what it means.
I really want him. I really want him to go into school on Thursday. I don't know when he listens to the episode. He probably doesn't listen to it as soon as it airs. So, like, if you go into school on Friday, please just nonchalantly,
Just be like,
just
what's
say,
your weekend? How was your weekend?
"How was
Was
your-"
it lit? That's
Yeah,
all you have to say.
That's all you have to say. All you have to say. And the kids will do one
Oh,
of two things. They will either break laughing or give you all the respect you deserve in this world. And it will be either way. It will be good.
okay. Let's get back to Kirby.
Anyways, so the coolest part about it is that there's an element of puzzle solving, which again I've mentioned how much I love solving puzzles in games. So you'll find like the hidden rooms and stuff, and there'll be an option of like what ally you can choose. So you have to choose the correct ally in order to get past the room. And if you don't choose the correct ally, you pretty much have to start over again. And
Whoops.
yeah, like it's a lot of fun though. And it's quick. Like, the levels are super quick, and it's just trying to be a fun game. Like, it's not trying to make you break your mind or like make you die 1,000 times. I mean, the oh my God, the rate in which you collect extra lives is so fast. Like, every star, I think it's every 100 stars is a extra life that you collect, because you collect stars throughout the game. Is an extra life. I think I'm at like 86 lives.
Jeez. The like 2D Mario games have really gone that way too. Like
Yeah.
Mario Odyssey pretty much just got rid of the life system entirely. You just
Yeah,
have
exactly.
hit points and restart and all that.
Mhm.
But I mean, before that, like Mario 3D World on Wii U was same thing. It was like every 100 coins you're getting a life, and by the end of like the first 3 levels, you've got 100 lives. Woo! Because
Yeah.
dying doesn't actually mean anything in a Nintendo game. You're here to have fun.
Exactly. I mean, they really are the more kid-friendly game, and kind of like this is what video games are to begin with, and then like when you get older, they're gonna get harder. But for right now, you're a kid, just have fun with it, please. For the
And then
love
when
of God, just have fun.
And then when you're
Like,
almost 30, it's, oh, please, thank God, something to relax me. Just want to
exactly.
play this. Just want to get from one end of a level to the other and feel a sense of accomplishment.
Yep. Oh yeah. This is the most accomplished I've felt in a video game in a long time. Every time I beat the level.
Oh,
but
especially,
yeah,
do they still? I think they do, because it was on the demo, but they still have the song at the end of the levels,
it's like
right? With the dance. Oh,
That's probably not what
I
it
want
is.
that to like, it's
but-
close enough, and I want that somehow to just play at the end of like every work day for me. Like, hey, by the way,
Right?
it's 5 o'clock. It's
It
like,
feels was so good. And the dance is great too. They're like break dancing and
Yeah.
moonwalking. It's so good. So good. I would highly recommend it to anyone who has a Switch. I have to
Well,
throw
that's
that
good
in.
because Switch has had an uneven second year so far because a
Yeah,
lot
I've
of their
noticed
releases
that.
aren't coming till much later.
Yeah.
Especially because like their big one this month was supposed to be Dark Souls remastered,
Yep.
and it got pushed to summer on Switch.
Oh, did it?
It got
Oh, wow.
yeah, only on Switch, and it's really upset. It's really confusing because they were showing it off, like they showed it off at PAX, and it was running great. I mean, the hardware anybody uses at PAX is always
Mm.
like overpowered anyway, but by all accounts, it was going excellently. And then all of a sudden, like 3 or 4 weeks before release, they're like, "Oh, sorry, for Switch, we have to push it until sometime this summer."
Yeah.
And like no one really knows quite exactly why that happened, but that kind of messes up their schedule. But I think Tropical Freeze's re-release comes out this year
Yep.
or this month, I
Yeah,
mean.
I saw that.
And
Yep.
like that's kind of what's got them going right now is just the re-release from all the Wii U games nobody played.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, seriously.
so it's good to know that Kirby is like still holding strong.
It's so yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. I was a little nervous when I bought it cuz I was like what if like the demos is as good as it gets, but no.
No. Sorry,
I'm
this isn't a Sonic game. It's always better than it's gonna be better than the demo.
Oh, but Sonic Forces is so good. I'm being
Uh,
100% serious when I say I love Sonic Forces. I have not finished it, but it's so much fun. I
I
don't even
believe
care.
you. I believe you. It's
I
just
don't.
like I love that running. That it's been like a running joke in Sonic's entire lifetime that it's like they put all of their effort into the first level
Yep.
because that's gonna be the demo, and that's what you're gonna see in all the commercials, and then every level after that is just like just depreciating in value as
Yeah.
it goes down.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, that's pretty much game wise what I've been doing. I never talked about it, but I did go to PAX East. So
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't know why I didn't talk about it. I think it was
Uh,
because we were still on the 2 every other week schedule. So
yeah.
by the time we recorded, I was just like, "Oh yeah, PAX is out of my brain." Um but that was super fun. I demoed Detroit Become Human and like gorgeous. I'm buying that game. I don't even care. It is so beautiful. I mean, the demo was basically just the video that's Ben cycling around
Right.
with the investigation. I don't know how much you've seen or dove into with Detroit Become
Uh,
Human,
I've seen a bunch.
but
I'm not always a huge fan of that company and that the
mm,
guy that runs it are kind of some of the worst.
yeah,
And so that tailors my opinion on it.
yeah.
And I again, like everybody to each your own, but like that company's in some shit right now. So like I'm just completely soured on most of
Oh
what they're
wow.
doing.
See, I have.
Which is unfortunate because Jesse Williams, I love Jesse
Oh
Williams.
yeah,
Like the idea that I really want to see what he does in that game, but I'll probably just like watch Let's Plays of it
yeah,
personally. But
yeah.
if you're excited for it, that is important. That's the most important
I
thing.
am.
Like
I'm very excited. I don't know the politics behind you. You know way more behind like game companies and all of that and producers and all of that way more than I do. So I don't even know what you're talking about when you say that company is like in shambles
uh,
and like oh my.
earlier this year, like some French publications, they're a French company, some French
Yeah.
publications printed like there's like some like kind of just serious like human relations problems at that company,
Oh
and
wow.
that
Oh.
kind of came out. That kind of came out, got its big thing for like a week, disappeared, and then just recently they found out that the company is now suing those journalists,
Oh
and
wow.
so it's like. Are you suing them because what they said was just like defamation and not true, or are you just like being really pissy? And then the guy that David Cage is the guy that
Mm.
that co-founded that company and is in all the games, and is like really wants games to be more emotional experiences for like film and all this other stuff, but he always just comes off as kind of super pretentious.
Got you. Okay.
But I think that the other side of that though is that most of their games like Heavy Rain have like some of the best camp value that you can get out of a game series.
Yeah.
Like have you ever seen the video from Heavy Rain of when the guy is running around looking for his son, and they literally, it's like 10 minutes of the guy screaming the kid's name, but they only did 2 takes.
Oh
And so
really?
he's walking around a crowd going, Jason, 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 Jason,
Oh no.
Jason,
I have
Jason.
not seen that.
Like it's like a 10-minute video, and then someone like their game bugged out, and so that just happened the entire game in the background. And
Oh.
so there's like all this huge emotional stuff going on,
Oh my
and they're
god.
like there's like all there's rain coming down, and they're having these huge shootouts, and then in the background you just hear Jason, 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 Jason.
That's
And
fantastic.
it's like
Oh.
watching like
Oh my
it's like
god.
watching Tommy Wiseau make video games because he's like because David Cage is like, oh, we're gonna make everything's about emotion is the greatest thing that you can put into a game, and it's gonna be the most cinematic experience of your life, and you're gonna love it. And then you realize that like the background of all of it is just like stringing 1,000 different ideas that have no concept to get that like have no cohesive concepts, just with like bale and twine, and it's like they're
Oh
just like sticking all of
my
this stuff together. It's
god.
amazingly it's like amazing trash. It's the best like trashy stuff, and then like every time they make a new game, like the hardware way outpaces whatever ideas they can put into the game, and so they always look gorgeous, but then it's like watching like the most expensive B movie that you can ever play.
Oh my god.
Oh,
That's
I
that's
know.
incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. Wow. But yeah. So Detroit Become Human. I don't know. Maybe I gotta think about that a little bit
No, here's
more.
the other thing. But every
Wow.
time another one, no, no. If buy it and play it, and you might love it totally. But like I just think that like because one of these days they're gonna hit like huge by accident.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
they're gonna hit one.
exactly.
They're gonna hit one that's just gonna be like just the power behind it. Just they couldn't stop this game from being good, because it seems like they're trying sometimes.
Yeah. I got you.
But yeah, no,
Um
definitely like it's like when it comes out, enjoy it and love it, and like I said, I'm gonna watch probably people play it and I'll
play
hear
it.
them talk about it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I am it the demo was gorgeous. Like it was that cinematic like beautiful. The game controls were really good too.
That's the most important
Like
thing. Like it felt really good to play and like
oh
make those
yeah.
choices and stuff
Oh
like
yeah.
that. Okay.
Like
That's
like
because that's what that's gonna live and
well,
die on.
the coolest part about it was you're investigating like a crime scene, and I think you can do this in other games. Someone I can't remember what game someone likened it to, but you can in like your animatronic brain or whatever, you can fast forward and rewind the how the scene played out, but like it's just shadows. Like it's just visually really cool, and you can zoom in, and it's the coolest investigative gameplay I've seen in a long time,
Cool.
and
Cool.
I'm very excited for it. But yeah, it sucks that company might. It sounds like it
The
sucks,
short
but
answer, yeah, but
like
I think
I'm
the
still
other sad answer
excited.
to that
Yeah.
though, yeah, and the other sad answer to that though is that you start peeling back that onion on like every game
Oh
company. And
yeah,
it's
of
not the
course.
greatest.
I
And the
mean,
movie industry was and still is that
is
way in
that
a lot
way?
of
Of
ways. So
course.
like,
That's
but
kind of like the
the biggest thing,
world now. It's what you have. It's what
right?
we
And the
have at our
biggest thing to
fingertips.
always, and the biggest thing to always remember is that there's 100 something people working on these
Oh
games
yeah.
that all gotta have jobs in the morning. Like even if this place is crappy like that,
Yeah.
you not buying that game and then them going out of business is not going to help any of those people.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so like that's always something I try to keep in mind. It's why
Mhm.
I bought the Mad Max collection, despite the fact that Mel Gibson's terrible. But I still think George Miller deserves to get money, and
Exactly.
everyone
Yeah.
else who worked on those movies deserves to
Very
get
true. Very true.
get some money.
Yeah.
Like,
All
ugh.
right. Well, I mean, that's all I have really to talk about. I mean, I have more PAX stories, but we could do that when it's closer to E3. I
I was gonna
think
say, yeah, we're
we'll
gonna
have
have
a
a couple
a
like
whole
E3.
E3 thing.
Maybe we might have to make E3 our first very special episode because
Yay!
that's 5 days of hours of watching
Oh
press
yeah.
conferences and then trying to figure out which one of these people is too terrible to support. Did you see
Nice.
last year, by the way? Let's before I get off of this, and I'm going to try and make this funny, I swear. But last year at E3, one of the games that got shown off. Oh my God, was it the last night? Maybe it was like a 2D adventure game, but it was like pixel art, but it was gorgeous to look at. It's a
I
guy going through like a neon dystopian future.
oh
I
I
think
don't know.
it was during like it was during like the Microsoft press conference because it
Oh,
was one
I
of their
didn't see
big
that
indie
one.
games that they were pushing.
Yeah.
So that comes out, everybody loves it. It's one of the big hits of the thing. And then about 2 minutes after the conference ends, someone goes on Twitter and goes, "By the way, this is a bunch of tweets from this guy like 4 years ago." When he was starting to make this game, and his entire dystopia is based on the idea that feminists got too much power and destroyed the world. And everyone's like, "Whoa, whoa, hold on, wait, hold on,
Oh,
go back, 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 hold on."
oh my god.
And it
Oh
was like, shut
yeah.
up. Like, and we don't know how the game has changed. It still hasn't come out, so we don't know how the actual writing has evolved since then. We don't know if like
Oh
this guy has
shit.
evolved his views or like someone else came in and like fixed these problems. But basically, it was like, oh yeah, if like socialists and feminists get the way and everybody was getting a universal income and everything was given to you, then the whole world would fall into a terrible dystopia. It's like that doesn't make any sense, you
Wow.
crazy man. And
Wow.
that was when I was introduced to the phrase milkshake duck, which might be my favorite phrase on all of the internet. Milkshake,
What? What?
milkshake duck is just imagine in your head a picture of a duck drinking a milkshake. It's adorable, it's lovely, and then 2 seconds later, someone comes in and goes, "By the way, the duck is racist."
Oh
And
my god.
that's what it means to be a milkshake duck is when someone's star power shoots so high so fast and everyone's so excited about this thing they created, and then someone comes in and goes, "None of you have done any background check on this dude, he's terrible."
Yeah. Oh my god.
Well,
That's
yeah, like,
crazy.
and that's like that introduced me to that phrase, and it's been the best phrase I've ever like. That it's just been like the whole year. Every time something happens, someone else will come in and be like, "Oh, we're milkshake ducking again, aren't we? Oh, damn it! Oh,
Jeez.
darn!"
That's pretty great. That's pretty great. Oh my god.
Oh,
Wow. Well,
yeah. So we'll do. So we will do an E3.
we
Probably
definitely
do an
will.
E3
Oh yeah.
special. Uh, we'll and then as we get closer to it as well, like we'll start seeing what starts to get like announced and leaked and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Personally, I have no idea what I even want to see this year. Like Nintendo, I just want to see like the biggest thing I want to see from Nintendo is the new Pokemon game they're
Yep.
working on.
Yep. That's the only
Because
thing I
like,
care
oh yeah,
about.
Pokemon RPG finally coming to a major console because our major console is basically our handheld now.
Exactly.
I want like real details on that. I and then I mean, I don't know what else to like maybe like I just assume that the sequel to Horizon's coming.
Yeah.
So like in my head, they're announcing it at E3 unless they are taking like way more time with it, which I'm perfectly fine with.
Yeah.
So like it's I like but I've got nothing else like in my head of what I
Yeah.
actually want to see.
That's really
Like
it for me too. Like I'm so every day I well not every day, but I'll see like Pokemon leaks and I'm like these are all fake. This
yep.
is fun for now, but I just want to know what it actually is going to be and I need to know who my starters are going to be and I just want it to be a platypus. I just want there to be a platypus or an axolotl even though there kind of already is an axolotl.
Are there
But
no Oh, there is. It's Psyduck. Okay, hold on. I was like confused. I was like, wait, is there no platypus like
Psyduck is not a platypus, though. Like, I
I
mean,
mean,
he
he's
kind of is. He's
platypus-ish.
platypus-ish, but he has duck in his name. He's
Oh,
a
that's
duck,
true.
and that
That's
gold
true, but
duck is as duck as you get.
that's very true. I'm just in my head. I'm picturing trying to start a Pokemon game with Psyduck right now.
That would be
Oh,
terrible.
yeah, it
Oh
would.
my god.
It's like starting with a Magikarp.
Yeah, right.
It's like,
Although
like
I would be okay with that because then you get Gyarados.
that's true.
I mean, come on. Priorities.
Uh,
No, but
yeah.
cuz I keep seeing people they keep leaking different pictures of platypus Pokemon and no question, a platypus would be my starter. I don't even care what it evolves into. Like it would be my starter. Nope. End of discussion.
We made it a water Pokemon, and the first four gyms are electricity and fire, or not no, electricity and grass
Yep.
and anything else that is super strong against water. And you're still like, oh, got it, I'm good.
Got it.
Let's do
Good.
this.
We're gonna do it. It's gonna be fine. I've been in harder situations. It's fine in Pokemon. I've came out.
I chose Bulbasaur. Damn it, I was
Yeah.
a biggity.
Oh yeah, Bulbasaur's my favorite. I love Bulbasaur.
Of course you do.
Yeah, right. Yep. You're starting to understand, Zach.
That's because
You're
that's because you were
starting to
confused and
understand.
you thought it was Digimon, and you're just like, oh, that's like I went with the coolest
Well,
looking one because
the-
that's how this works.
The problem is remember, I never played Pokemon as a kid, so I grew up watching Bulbasaur get all the hate, and I'm like, you know what? I'll love you.
That sounds
You're
like
adorable.
that's like the entire basis for like the games I like and the movies I like, where I'm just like, no, I refuse to believe that this is as bad as you say. Watch me love this thing, damn it.
No, Bulbasaur is so adorable. I love Bulbasaur. I don't care if he's a little lettuce. Don't care.
Uh,
Yep.
so let's see. So me this past
Yeah.
week, I'm getting away from Bulbasaur. Uh,
You can't.
that's true. It won't
Now.
let you.
I will not let you.
So this past week, I've been getting into trying to rewatch like as many shows as possible because I
I've
told myself.
noticed.
So here's the thing. I told myself I wasn't gonna binge watch stuff this year, but I was gonna take it in and enjoy it because between Star Trek Discovery was on a weekly release schedule and I loved it, and last year, way before that during the summer was when Twin Peaks came back, and talk about a freaking show that is like infuriating to watch week to week because you have to wait a week to figure out what the hell David Lynch is pulling out of his ass this week. There's an entire episode of Twin Peaks: The Return that is just an avant-garde student film from David Lynch, basically. Like it opens up with a not a joke 10-minute performance by Nine Inch Nails.
Oh, wow.
And then all of a sudden it just goes into just like here's a shot of space. Oh, now there's fire in space. Now there's this weird kind of warpy thing in space. And you're like, okay, this is kind of strange. Then you look down at your watch and 15 minutes has gone by and you're like, is this going somewhere? And it does. It just like weird shit just happens for
That's
45 minutes
crazy.
and then the episode is over. Because he filmed Twin Peaks: The Return as an 18-hour movie and then just chopped it into 18 parts, like literally just chopped it into 18 parts. And so they just like, oh, this episode's over, we're done, now this episode picks up, oh, 45 minutes, that's enough time to fill the time slot on Stars, so cut it, we'll go on. Which means that like there's no resolution anyway. It's Twin Peaks and it's David Lynch, so even the whole series has no resolution, but like really episode to episode there's nothing. You're getting like, you have no idea how to feel because you don't even know what's happened for like after 3 hours, you have to like process the images that have been in front of you.
I do not know how I feel about that
It,
at all.
at the same, it's weird because at the end of that season, I was both more mad than I have ever been at a TV show for making me take up 18 hours to watch it.
Yep.
And also, a year and a half later, I have not stopped thinking one day about that show. Like
Wow.
every day I have thought about that show in one
Impressive.
way or another. And so it's like, well, okay, it pissed me off, but it's got the lasting power. I don't know what to say.
It
But
somehow has a grasp of me, and I don't know
yeah,
why.
and so that really gave me like, but that really just got me into this idea that like, you know what, waiting a week to watch something that makes it better. Because
Oh,
binging,
yeah.
as much as I love just like completely chilling out and binging something, it never retains the same way.
Mm-hmm.
I could probably tell you more about Twin Peaks than I could about like the first two seasons of Daredevil, because I watched the first two seasons of Daredevil like the day they came out,
Yeah.
like 2 years ago,
Yeah.
and last year. I couldn't tell you jack about most of them, but I can tell you so much about. I could talk for hours
Okay.
about Twin Peaks because because I had to watch and think about them, and so like I couldn't not. So I went back into rewatching a bunch of shows, but the way I kind of replaced binge watching was I just like picked up 10 shows to watch.
And just watch them all.
And
So,
so now I watch like 2 episodes at a time and like switch to another show.
yeah, okay.
And
Well, that makes
and that
sense.
yeah.
See, but so for me, it's so weird because I always wanted to like get into all these Netflix shows that people have been raving about, like Stranger Things and what was another one? I don't know, Orange Is the New Black or something like that. But I just couldn't find the time or just like the want to do it. But then I found a show called The Magicians on Netflix, and it was a sci-fi show.
Oh, can I tell you the only thing I ever know about the Magicians?
Sure.
There's some scene where two books have sex. I
Yes.
don't know what it is.
Yep.
I don't have no idea what the context is. Literally the only thing I know about that show.
Oh yeah.
And a bunch of
Yeah.
people, and that a bunch of people like it. Like I see people
Yeah.
tweeting about it all the time, but I've never
Well,
sat down to watch it. So that's all I know about that show.
I was like, "Oh, magicians. I like magic. Let's see where this goes." And then the first episode is just craziness. And I was like, "What? What?" And almost every episode leaves you on a cliffhanger. So I'm 4 episodes in and I'm like, "I don't know how I feel about this yet, but I need to know what happens to these people." And the only thing the only thing at that point that was on Netflix was the first season. So I was like, I'll just watch the first season and see if I like it. And then the second season came on, and I'm like, I just need to keep watching it. So that has been the only real show other than the Orville recently that I've just binge watched. And I feel like if I watched that show week to week, I don't think I would have enjoyed it as much because the cliffhangers are so painful.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, no, I could see that.
I would watch them because they were the perfect length for my lunch break at work. So I would watch them on my lunch break, and I'd be like, this sucks. Like, and now I have to wait until I get home to watch the next episode, but I need to know what just happened there. Like, it literally would pain me to, like, not know. And I'm nervous because the third season is out and it's on demand, so I missed that. But the fourth season, I feel like I'm gonna have to watch on a week-to-week basis, and I'm so nervous for it.
See, and that's amazing because I think where a lot of that comes from. So one of the first show that I started doing this with was X-Files. I have tried to rewatch X-Files like 3 times in my entire life, and I would fall off every now and then because what I would do was binge watch it until I burned out, and then like a week would go by, and then I would just forget to go back to it.
Yeah.
Which is another reason why I'm kind of doing stuff this way. But I really wanted to commit to it this time, so I'm watching it like 2 and 3 episodes at a time, and you start to realize like it used to be. Like, yes, there were like 2-parters that had cliffhangers, but otherwise you had just one-off satisfying episodes. Like, you knew that there was a big mystery going on in the background of X-Files. That's like what the show is built on.
Yeah.
But it's not like, and every now and then you would even get like singular, one-off episodes that would talk about that conspiracy, but they never made it like, this is why you're coming back, is to come back and learn more about this mystery. It's like, no, this mystery's going on, but they also have like this other life they have to live because you don't always get all of the answers right away. And I think what happened was at some point someone went, well, what if cliffhangers all the time? Because like season finales, 2-parters always had the best ratings. And it was because like we introduced this mystery and you had to come back next week to get it. And then the problem was that you'd come back, you'd get one answer, and then they would throw 5 more questions at you and set up another cliffhanger. That's like, why? Like, I'm gonna come back. I like the show. I like the characters. Like, stop with this.
I'm already invested. Yeah, there was one cliffhanger that I remember. It was, and during my lunch break, I just went, no. and one of my coworkers was like, what just happened? And I'm like, a person just died, and I don't even know how or why. And then credits. And, like, the person just walked into the room and was dead. What? Why? Like, why is this happening? And it's just painful. Yeah, but I mentioned Black Clover on this earlier.
You did, yes.
That is a show that Devin and I watch by week to week, and it works because it's an anime and they just replay everything that happened the week before, pretty much.
Every episode is 10 minutes of recap, 12 minutes of new stuff,
exactly,
and then the next 10
exactly. So it's a way. It's like, I don't know, it's different for every show. I think.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it is, and it's all about structure of the show, and it's just like it's interesting to see what kind of carries over from one generation of TV to the next.
Yeah.
So it's also interesting that so the reason that I wanted to watch X-Files and one of the reason I'm like so adamant that I'm going to watch this whole thing is that it was the first show that I realized my mother was into and my father was not.
Oh, okay.
And I think my father got into it eventually, but like we always made a big thing in our family about like watching Simpsons on Sunday nights and like watching shows here and there throughout the week together.
Yeah.
But it always seemed like we were watching whatever my dad wanted to watch and my mom tolerated. And then sometime in its run, X-Files got moved to Sunday night because it got like super, super popular. And so they would put it on after The Simpsons. And so it was just on and we were watching it. And I started to realize, oh, my mom is into this. My father has no idea what's going on. But we're watching this because my mom likes it. And so, like, that's always kind of stuck in my head, like, because I vaguely remember some of the final seasons of that show, which are not the great ones.
Yeah.
But I remember, but those are the ones I vaguely remember the most, and I never really caught it at the beginning. So I really wanted to watch it from the beginning, really enjoy this thing. And again, like I said, I would burn out. But, you know, TV writing in the 90s was so weirdly different. And yet, X-Files is the show that, like, I think really caught on to that idea of you can have a big mystery in the background and then
Yeah.
do kind of singular episodes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's where you get most of CW's programming these days.
Yes. Yeah.
It's now like, and like all of the CW shows, all of the like Supernatural and all the DC shows,
Yep.
especially, where it's like every season there's a big overarching story with like smaller stories in between.
Yeah. Which I feel
and then
is the standard now for those
it
kind of shows.
it really is,
Um.
and it's unfortunate because the problem with that is that like X-Files definitely did that, especially later on.
Yeah.
But for the most part, like it wasn't one story from beginning one season to the next, and then or like from the beginning of the season to the end, and then a new story, which is what Supernatural has fallen into.
Mhm.
It was we have a big story that is always going on in the background, and so you're just kind of learning new bits and pieces of that, and so like that seems it gives it a much more kind of planned out feeling to it. Like Supernatural was originally supposed to be 5 seasons. And so when you watch the first 5 seasons of that show, it is one big story because all of that story ties together in the first 5 seasons. And then as soon as the 5th season ends, they're like, oh, we got more seasons than we expected. What do we do now? And it goes to a like every season, it's a new story kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it just feels like it's never ending now because of it, because it just never feels satisfying
Oh my
because it
God.
never feels like it's a one cohesive story.
Yeah.
It's much more like episodic in that nature.
Interesting.
So yeah, so
Very
it was like
interesting.
again, it was the thing that was like, oh, X-Files made this thing super huge and popular. Let's do that. Just like people went, oh, X-Files and like moonlighting before it and stuff like that really made the will they won't they like a huge thing. So let's make that the big part of every time we have a show like Bones or something
Oh
where
my
there's like a
God.
sexy guy and a sexy woman and they're solving crimes together.
Yep.
The problem is, especially in the first like few seasons of X-Files, none of that is there. It's entirely the audience putting it on there.
Yep.
The audience wants them to get together. None of that's in the show. In the show, they are in the truest sense best friends. It is that Mulder has this like quest he's on. Scully comes in and starts like basically the kind of premise to the pilot of X-Files is that Scully is put on with Mulder to debunk all of his work because
okay.
they want to throw him out because they want to throw him out of the FBI because
Nice.
he's basically an embarrassment to the thing, but he's got like all of these connections because, you know, spoiler alert, everything he believes is actually real. But because of that, like there's like all of these, you know, the shady organizations in the back want Mulder thrown out
Yeah.
because his quest for the truth gets him too close sometimes. So the idea was we're going to take this brilliant student. They recruited her out of med school. She's basically Clarice Starling, and we're gonna put her with spooky Mulder, and she's gonna debunk everything he does. And what she really does is come in and go, well, I could probably come up with like not that she does this like on purpose, but by her own nature of needing to rationalize things, she basically starts writing reports that rationalize and verify everything that Mulder
Nice.
does.
Nice.
And so it's like, and in the same way, like because she challenges him and makes him like have to explain these crazy things going on, it almost becomes a way of like legitimizing his own work because now it's not just I believe this crazy thing and I'm going to run around until I find it. It's well, now I need to have a reason, like
Yeah.
understanding this idea that like you need reasons for what you do. You don't get to just run off and do whatever you want. So it's like this great thing. It creates this like perfect balance of partnership with them where it's, you know, Mulder thinks something's crazy. Scully comes up with a much more rational reason for that. And then they actually, in more cases than not, chase the rational reason behind it until the crazy thing happens.
Good.
And it creates this like great, it's such a great chemistry with them. And then like all of the stuff about them coming together and, you know, will they, won't they stuff really like
Comes
some of it
after.
comes in,
Yeah.
some of it comes toward the end of the series when it was like, well, we're wrapping up and, you know, that makes a good story for them to come together. But the only reason that makes a good story is because for like 8 years, you had audiences on like the internet, the birth of the internet, going on forums and being like, why aren't they kissing yet?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, because that's not who they are,
Well, like,
and deal with it.
yeah, that's the shipping. Like shipping, I never knew was a thing until like my senior year of high school, when like the younger class, my younger classmates had to tell me what it was, and then I realized that shipping, like, I don't think shows that have people coming together ever imagine that those characters would get together until they started reading like fan fiction and were like, oh,
Definitely,
let's just make these
absolutely.
people happy. And like that's kind of upsetting, but at the same time, I don't know. Like I guess you still have to make your show and make the people happy, but it's just like
Right. I mean,
why you gotta cop
it's a
out?
balance. It's the
Yeah.
balance of you want to fan service
Mhm.
things and
Yeah.
do things the fans like, but you also want to tell your story. And X-Files did a great job for years of not doing what they did was they didn't have Mulder and Scully getting together, but they would do little things for the fans because they were like when I say I'm not kidding, like 1991 birth of the internet forums. The first two shows anybody ever talked about were Twin Peaks and X-Files. Like that's what
Yeah.
the birth of the internet was. And so like the people like including David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson, the people making the show were on those forums like paying attention. And so they did little things like there's a conspiracy theorist that they named after someone's like username
Oh wow.
and stuff like that. Yeah.
Nice.
And it's like there were characters that they brought back more often. The lone gunman. I don't know how much you know about.
I don't know anything.
Okay, so the lone gunman is this like
I've
trio of
always
dudes.
wanted to, but
Yeah. The Lilligan is this trio of dudes that are like also major conspiracy theorists. They're like friends of Mulder that he like hangs out
nice.
with sometimes.
That's awesome.
Um, one of the guys looks like Garth. It's great. One of the guys,
Fantastic.
what it is you have a guy in a Ramones t-shirt that looks like Garth. You have a guy in a suit, and you have this kind of shorter guy in glasses. That shorter guy in glasses is one of the assistant directors that they literally threw into the first scene with these guys because they needed to fill out the cast for the episode.
Oh wow.
And he ends up coming back like 20 times because
That's
these
awesome.
guys were so popular.
Yeah.
And they came back because on the forums, people were like, oh, yeah, we love these guys. These guys are great. They make the world feel so much bigger because it's not just Mulder running around acting like a crazy person. There are other people out there that he talks to and discusses these
Yeah.
things with. And all of a
That's
sudden,
great.
these guys become super popular. They get a spin-off for one season that's terrible, and then they just go back to being side characters. But like,
That's awesome.
and that's when they realized, oh yeah, it's not always about fan service
Yeah.
because there's too much lone gunmen sometimes. Um, so
Oh
it's like,
man.
and so that's kind of the way that they figured out that balance so well in the early days. Like these days now, there's so many ways. It's not just forums of like 20 people on
Oh,
the internet anymore. It's
we got
it's Twitter and
and
Tumblr. And,
exactly. Twitter and Tumblr are like the main culprits of
yeah,
all this fan stuff, and it's just like some of it is good, some of it is really really good, and I can get behind, but the other stuff is just kind of like
yeah,
noise. Like, why is this even
yeah,
out here? You know.
yeah. So
um.
and so yeah, so I've been doing that, watching X Files, loving that. It's great to not. The other thing I've been doing with that alongside of it is I'm listening to like two different X Files podcasts right now because
Nice. Okay.
it's the dorkiest thing. This is the dorkiest thing I do. I love the entire genre of rewatch podcasts, which is where people watch a show or watch a set of movies or something and then like really talk about them
Yeah.
like passionately and not in like the Twitter way of this like why are you doing this? This is terrible. It's more like this is the show. The characters acting the way they've always acted. Like actual like English major level critical
Wow.
breakdown of these
Nice.
things. And it feeds like a weird part of my brain that I think is part of the reason I became an English major. So
That's good.
yeah, and it's great. Like one of the ones I listened to is from Kumail Nanjiani.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
it's
Yeah.
a huge. So it actually ends. I'm coming up to the end of it because he didn't continue it. I think once him and his wife started like putting Big Sick together,
Yeah.
he stopped doing it because like there's like a cutoff of like 2 years ago, which kind of fits that timeline.
Gotcha.
But
Okay.
like it's really interesting to hear him because at the time that he was doing the show, so the show's like 3 years old, he had not broken out huge yet. He had been still been doing character work, like he's
Mhm.
still like Valley is just starting.
Yeah.
And so but still to like hear him get interviews with like other friends of his, like his wife's been on a couple of times. He got interviews with a couple of people that make the show. This is around the time that season 10, like the miniseries was coming back and stuff. And it's just to listen to people who you see on TV or like you
Yeah.
you kind of like know as just like performers, be like, okay, performance done. We are going to geek out about this thing for an hour. We're going to talk about why this fits into this greater mythology of the show, and we're going to talk about why we love like these characters, and the way that they act in this scene is really good. And you're like, oh my god, there's a huge
Yep.
world around these things. Like breaking into a fandom is like can be crazy overwhelming to
Yeah.
just see how much like trivia and like how much love for this thing has just been out there that you've never known before.
Yeah.
And it's like okay, now I feel comfortable like watching this thing every other night, watching a couple of episodes and really getting into it, because I know I'm not like just wasting time. Like it makes you feel like you're doing more than just like wasting like killing time watching a show. It's like I know I want to watch this show and this helps me because it's not on anymore.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
it used to be like when it was
Exactly.
on, it was you go into work and then talk to people about
Yep.
it.
Yeah.
And but like I'm talking about a 30-year-old show right now. No one else is watching this with me.
Yeah, no. On that with rewatch, what did you call them?
Rewatch podcasts.
Podcast.
Yep.
I definitely understand what you're saying, because I mean, it's kind of weird and a little different, but I totally get what you're saying by listening. There was a podcast. One of my favorite bands is Bowling for Soup. They just are.
Of
Uh,
Phineas and Ferb fame, yes.
Yes. Well, hey,
No.
Phineas and Ferb.
No, Phineas and
Also
Ferb is
one.
excellent.
Phineas and
I know.
Ferb is my favorite show of all time.
Well, of course,
So,
there's a platypus.
well, yeah. I mean, anytime I see orange and teal, I'm like, that's Perry colors. Perry cut. Like, Phineas and Ferb is a huge deal for me. But Bowling for Soup, like, I love them. So, I realized that the lead singer had his own podcast called Jared Goes to the Movies, or yeah, that's what it's called. And it's him and one of his best friends, and they're just talking about movies that like I love. Like they do a whole Back to the Future one, a Sandlot one, and it's like it's just cool to listen to someone who is in the music industry and like kind of removed from the film industry talking about these movies, and just hearing how much he loves them is amazing. It's just it feels good to like know that someone else loves these movies as much as I do.
Absolutely. I mean, that's
Like
what it really is. It's like it's a validation of like, okay, I'm not the only person out there like in this time also enjoying this thing.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Oh man, it's good. It's good.
that
Good
is
world.
good. It's oh god,
Segues are
it is.
weird, huh?
Sometimes it's crap, but the fact is, it's a very good world out there if you
Oh, yeah.
know where to look.
If you know where to
Uh,
look, we're gonna get philosophical here. No.
yeah. And on
Uh,
that note, good night, everybody.
Good night. Bye. End. No.
Uh,
Yeah. So I mean, think.
I mean, that's pretty much it for
It's pretty much
yeah,
what
that's
I
it for
did.
me this week.
Yeah. I don't really have anything else. I mean, yeah. I can't wait for our upcoming E3 thing. Like that really got me excited.
Good, very good. I was wondering, I was hoping it would.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
Yes, I'm very ready.
Yeah, especially because if neither of us has like huge expectations, that means that we could get blown away by anything.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. But yeah. So this has been. I hope you guys enjoy. Definitely. If you want to comment, tweet at us. It is at sayreportjr on Twitter. You can also follow each of us individually. I am at Dale's Brain and
Yeah.
Zach.
And I am at Zerwisky.
Yes. And I've mentioned this before, but we're not spelling those for you guys anymore. Sorry.
I think my tag name is still Zach the Normie. So let's look that up.
Yes, that's true. Or you can just look up Dale Decker, because
Sure.
that's just me. But yeah, if you're enjoying the podcast, if you're listening every week, please let us know. If not, I mean, you can let us know that too. We probably won't pay attention because we have fun, but hey.
Yeah, rate, subscribe, do those things that
Do all
I
those
think
things
bump us up
that-
on iTunes.
that-
I don't know how like
I
I don't know
don't
how
know.
like analytics and algorithms work.
I
I,
have
just
no
think
idea.
it's good if we get reviewed, and I don't think it matters that much what the score is, because as long as people are reviewing us, they'll like bump us up on one of their many lists. That's all I know.
Yeah, I don't.
So
Internet workings.
Yeah.
the internet. I have no idea. But yeah, I hope you're enjoying this. I'm having a lot of fun. I think you're having a lot of fun. So
Oh, I'm having a great time.
yeah, this is great. I'm putting this out there. I do want to try and do like a stream or something where we just play video games for an
Yeah,
hour.
We'll figure something out. I
Oh,
I
man.
I can at least make. I've got recording stuff on my side I've never really used, like obviously
sweet.
like
Okay.
to make videos and stuff. I just don't know. I have to make sure we record that properly
Yeah.
and put it without it being
Well,
like,
I mean,
you
we'll
know.
figure it out. You guys will have to wait and see if that works out, and maybe Fortnite will be in the future because I need to play it now after talking to you about it so much. But
Okay.
yeah,
So,
So-
we will see everybody next week and,
Well, yeah.
enjoy.
enjoy. Have a good week. Good night,
Bye.
everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to The Say Report with your hosts Dale Decker and Zach Sarowik. Please follow the guys on Twitter and Facebook by searching for The Say Report, and you can always subscribe on your podcast channel so this is delivered straight to you and you can enjoy it every week. With apologies to your mother, we'll see you next time.